guys got all the papers that you needed at the front of the door. So make sure that you guys got the paper. Okay. All right, so today is Thursday, which is new project day. So you guys are going to get a new project today. It's called Unconventional Portraits. Tomorrow, you get to spend a little bit of time demoing, which I'm going to show you a really cool demo later today. And then you'll also have a very small informal quiz. Any questions about this week? Nothing? Okay, go ahead and get out your checklist for next week for unconventional portraits. And I'll bring it up here. So, next week, December 7th through 11th, this is what is due. I need one unconventional self-portrait, so a picture of you, one unconventional portrait. It can be anybody, it can be multiple people. I'll need a contact sheet of 25 or more images. That means that you need to have 25 images out of those 2 photo shoots. A lot of you have way more than 25, that's okay. And then last but not least, you need Pinterest, unconventional portraits, you need 20 of those. Questions? I know, this is normal. Alright, so let's talk about unconventional portrait photography, because I know a lot of you have asked questions about it. You have a packet on it in case you forget what unconventional portrait photography images look like. So make sure that you go over that, and before Friday, ask me questions. Okay, so what is unconventional portrait photography? Well, I can tell you what it's certainly not. What I shouldn't see are selfies. So if anybody has a cell phone and it looks like you just shot a picture of yourself, that will not count as unconventional portrait photography. Make sure that's screwed into your brain right now. Also, what doesn't count as unconventional portrait photography is if you went to like Penny or Target and got your pictures professionally taken. That doesn't count. Also, what doesn't count are things like senior portraits. That kind of traditional setup will not count as unconventional portrait photography. Unconventional portrait photography is something out of the box, something kind of weird and funky, something that shows more of your personality than just a pretty face. So the images that you're going to see are unconventional examples of portrait photography. So normally you wouldn't take a picture of yourself like this. You can hide your face. I know some of you are shy. Think about using that shyness to kind of display a part of your personality trait and maybe hide your face a little bit in a creative way. Think about enlarging or, manipulating parts of your face or body. Maybe you're a goofy, funny person, and that would be a way to show your personality. Okay. Maybe you are very studious and you're always a person deep in thought. So this would be an image that I would use. He's dressed really fancy, has a bow tie or regular tie on. Maybe you like fashion and makeup, Isaac.
How would you put the camera in that picture? Because I don't see it in the
Ah, very good question. So how would I take a picture like that? What do you think, Isaac? Yeah, you can try to angle your camera to where you don't really see the image. Thank you. You can either take an image of yourself and then erase using the cloning tool your camera. You'd have to take 2 different images. So image number 1, would you be holding the camera, taking a picture of yourself? Image number 2, would just be you kind of making that pose, and we'll just erase that. So that was a really fun one. I've seen this done before with those reflective big bowling ball things that are in your yard. Those always turn out really fun. If you like fashion and makeup, definitely display that. Put it on display. Try something creative and unique to show your own personality. Okay? Another big one. How's this one shot? No blower, big old have big fans here at school that you can just sit in front of and snap a picture. Now, something we haven't talked about is how do we take a picture of ourselves? Any ideas? Tripod? What? A timer. So a timer is going to be really, really important for some of you. If you were using a cell phone, what I would do is I would set my cell phone down or prop it up or have somebody hold it, and then set a self timer, make sure all of your ISO, shutter speed, aperture, all those settings are the way you want them, and then put it on self timer for about 30 seconds, run over, sit down, make your pose, and it'll snap. It'll take a lot of trial and error. Sometimes it'll be a little frustrating trying to get the shot that you want, but it's a way of trying to figure out how to take pictures of yourself because that's an important part of photography, self-reflection and self-image. Okay. Another example of unconventional portrait photography. How would I do this in Photoshop? Let's just take one person. Yeah. Okay. So Jeremiah said I could take 3 different images, so the image of the head, the image of the body, the image of the feet, and in Photoshop just kind of put it together with a little bit of space, bing, bang, done. What's another way of doing this? Rory, could I take a picture of just one image and cut it up into pieces in Photoshop? Yeah, I certainly can. Is that what you're going to say, Candy? Yeah. I certainly can just take a picture of one image, make 3 different images, like crop the same image 3 times, and enlarge or make it smaller the way I wanted it to. So that's a really easy one to do. But again, I'm emphasizing personality in your photos. So when I look at you, I know a lot of you well enough to know kind of how you are. So make sure your personality is showing. Okay. You can do children for your portraits. You can do multiple people for your portraits. What's weird about this one? Their eyes are closed, which is a little unconventional. You normally wouldn't take a portrait photography or a family photo in the bathtub. So it's different, it's unique. That's where you're going to. Okay. Same with this. You can go black and white, you can go color. There's no requirement for one or the other. You guys all know how to do things in Photoshop now, how to desaturate and make things black and white. If you forget, let me know. Here's another example. And today I'm going to show you how to do something similar to this. So if you have questions about that one, I'll show you later. How would I do this one in Photoshop? Yeah. So you take a photo like you normally would, just a regular average photo. And then in Photoshop, you can take the polygon lasso tool and cut out a shape. You can cut out any shape you want. It doesn't have to be the shape. You take the move tool and move it over. And then to get this color, I can just clone this color over here, or I can take 2 separate images and layer them and erase that layer. There's so many different possibilities to do this. But again, you guys know that this image is relatively easy by now. Okay. Unconventional photos. Reflections are a really good example too. Another example. Again, you can use stock images in your photos. Okay. How do I choose this one? We've seen images very similar to this. And start calling on people who I haven't heard from. Bailey.
Couldn't you, like, curvy on the other side of the window? Like, spray with spray ball or something?
Absolutely. So my model is behind a glass window. If it's not raining outside, I use a little spray bottle to create some condensation on there. And then using my aperture settings, I can determine what's blurry and what's in focus. So make sure that you're manipulating your aperture settings if you're doing something like that. Okay. And again, unconventional. None of these pictures that I have shown you looks like your stereotypical family photos or stereotypical senior portraits. So keep that in mind. Okay. How would I shoot something like this? Miriam. Okay. So she's standing behind the door, and then what? Me as the photographer is taking a picture from the outside. It's very, very simple. You are going to have to direct your model. You are going to have to be bossy and specific. If you want her hand here, make her put her hand here. If you don't like her expression, have her change her expression. You're going to see me here in a little bit talk to you about how to talk to your model. It's a really good example of how to direct the model to get what you want. Sometimes your models are difficult. Sometimes your models are easy. You need to find that middle ground, make them comfortable, and be able to be a little bit bossy with the student. Right? Especially if you're dealing with children. Okay. If you would like snow in your photo, there are Photoshop actions for that. It might snow here this weekend. Who knows? Yeah. Okay. How are we gonna shoot this? Yep. So, I'm outside. I take a picture. I get real low. I take a picture of the ground with the puddle. And then I make my model get really close too so that the lighting's the same. I cut his head off in Photoshop, place it in the puddle, and the hardest part about this is just getting that reflection, which I could just use the cloning tool to clone a little bit of reflection and just turn down the opacity. Not that difficult. Another example, you guys have done face swaps, very similar to that. So all of these are wacky, funky, unique. I know every year people ask me if they can do animals. I grade animals more intensely than I do people. Why? Because animals, it's really cute. It's really easy to get a cute image. It's difficult to get an unconventional image. Unconventional is out of the norm. So if I just have my dog running around the backyard and I just snap a photo of it, that is not an unconventional portrait. They need to be doing something out of the normal, realm of a typical animal portrait. So this is a good example of unconventional. How would I shoot something that would be frozen? What function would I use on the camera? Shutter speed. So if you want something that is frozen in motion, use a fast shutter speed. Some of you will end up doing multiple people. I know a couple of you have done this in the past. You're more than welcome to repeat something like this again. How you would do this is you would have a tripod on a camera, and your model is constantly moving around doing different things. The important thing is you want to do something like this is you need to have a tripod. The camera must not move. If the camera moves, it makes your life really difficult as far as stitching them together. If you do it perfectly, you can just go in Photoshop, photo merge, and it will do everything for you. Okay, that's the important thing. I can't emphasize that enough to make sure it's on a tripod. But again, self-timer. I do also have remotes for self-portraits. I have a remote for a cell phone, and I believe I do have a remote for a DSLR that you guys can check out. Okay. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It can be kind of gory and dark. It can be distorted. Where would I be if I was doing a picture like this? Where do you think I am? I'm just in the bathtub. You can hide your face in a creative, clever way. What I really don't want to see is just your hands in front of your face, because that's just boring. Okay? Think out of the box. Think unconventional. So this person just flipped their hair back, was just flat on portrait, it wouldn't be unconventional. But because they have that added element of a stock image and kind of molding it into this almost zombie-like image, that's unconventional. You can also print your image out and do something with your image. We haven't talked about that yet, but that is also a possibility. Most of you will be using props to help you along for your portrait photography also today. Silhouette. What kind of lighting is this? I haven't talked about this yet. Where's the light? Oh! Yeah, Evan, where is it?
Backlight.
Backlighting. Get creative with your lighting. To get this effect, the light is coming from the back side, meaning it's behind the model, creating almost a silhouette-like image. So think about that as an option for you to use. Same person, this person is choosing to kind of show different aspects about the life. Maybe they're sad, maybe they're depressed. A lot of people do faces that are wrapped. That's kind of my go-to thing for unconventional portraits. I have a couple of examples of that.
How would you do the one on the side?
Which one? This one?
Yeah, the one.
Okay. How would I do that?
Rather actions.
Yeah. So I can take a couple images of myself just straight on and change lighting and things like that, and then just use my rectangular marquee tool and select different pieces and parts of my face and put them together. This person also chose to put things that relate to them. So here's a camera, a musical instrument, a wall. They did a collage of things. So that could be an option as well. You don't have to do a lot of photography. You can do a lot of more Photoshop stuff if you want to do that. Person put food in a bag and wrapped it around their head. I thought that was interesting. Again, you personally don't have to be in there. Like, you can be in there, but your face doesn't have to be shown.
How would I do that?
That's a good question. How would I do this? Okay.
Pictures.
Yeah, 2 pictures. So picture number 1 is what? The shoe. Picture number 2 is what? The guy in the shoes. He's just standing in the shoes. The important thing is make sure that you, as the photographer, are not moving. Have a tripod because it's going to make your life so much easier. Again, you can always check out a tripod. How would I get the eyeball in the mouth? Yeah. I can just find a stock image, cut it out, put it in the mouth, and then to get it blended, I would just use the burn tool to blend that in and make it look realistic. Here's some more images. There is a smoke brush tool if you want to use the smoke brush tool. They just kind of stamped it on. I know Jeremiah, you've had experience with it. That's an option for you to do as well. But you really don't have to have your face in it per se. I should know kind of relatively that it's you, because I know what you look like. But again, you can do a collage, you can do yourself, but I'm pushing you all to show your personality. Questions about next week's assignment? Nobody have any? Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to kind of do a demo. I'm going to show you how to do it. And if we have time today, you can start to do the demo. It's optional. It's a really fun way to get a nice piece for your Flickr portfolio. But this is an exercise. Therefore, you can't use it to turn in. It's just a nice thing to put in your portfolio. So what we're going to do is we're all going to travel to this area over here. We haven't used it yet, so just kind of crowd around. You can bring your chairs if you want to. Evan, I'm going to have you twist the camera around so you can see what the person can see. going to grab this other camera so they can see what's going on over here. And Evan, just make sure it's kind of pointed in the direction of what we're doing. All right, I need a model volunteer. Jeremiah will be my volunteer. All right, so this is a relatively easy setup. If you are looking to go into photography, this is not expensive whatsoever. All you need is your camera. You need a remote flash, and you can get these off of AliExpress for a couple bucks. And an umbrella, some tripods, my flash, and my receiver. These little guys here, what they do is they communicate to each other and send a signal so that when I press the button, it sends a signal to make this flash go off. So we'll kind of look at what's happening here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my signal on my remote here, and I'm going to make sure it's on the same signal over here. I always turn mine on TRX just because that's my favorite. So my signals are on. I'm going to turn my camera on, and I'm going to turn my flash on. The flash button is on the other side, and you know it's on because a green light will be on. You can use any kind of umbrella that you want. You can use just your average umbrella. There's different kinds of umbrellas that you can buy. I'm just using a white one today, but I'll have a silver one for you guys to play with tomorrow. So I'm going to put an SD card in here real quick. Alright. So I'm taking somewhat an unconventional portrait today. Usually if you go to JCPenney, Target, they'll have this kind of setup and they'll have the lights on and you will just take a normal photo. This one's a little unconventional in the fact that I'm beginning to use a flash with my photography. So that, Jeremiah, if you take your hat off and you close your eyes for a second, you'll see the flash. Nobody look directly into the flash, otherwise it's going to hurt a little bit. Settings on your camera. I'm going to make sure that my shutter speed is super, super fast, meaning I don't want any light coming into my camera. Any of this kind of light here, any of this kind of light here. So, let's see, Rory, can you go get the lights? And we're going to turn all the lights off here. The reason I'm going to have her do that is just because it makes an easier picture. So while she's doing that, yep, just turn them all off. So just hit the number 3. Oh, keep going. Hit it again. Like, hit the number 1. Yeah. And then hit the number 1 again. There we go. Alright, so the lights are off. This makes it easy. They don't have to be off, but I just wanted to change the mood a little bit. So, because my shutter speed is really fast, am I emitting a lot of light in or a little light in?
Little.
A little bit, for a fraction of the time. So if I'm only letting light in for a fraction of the time, when I hit my button, the flash is going to bounce in this umbrella and hit his face. Okay? You guys kind of follow me there? So I'll show you visually what happens. So Jeremiah, I'm going to have you just slightly turn your face. Fabulous. And I'm going to take a test shot. This is why I require you guys to do 25 images, because I want you to have some of your test shots in there to see where you started. So my shutter speed's at 1/250. I'm going to take a test shot. Jeremiah, go ahead and close your eyes since this is a test shot. I'm going to look at my camera, and what I'm going to do is kind of go around to you all and show you what I'm seeing. So I see a very faint image of my model. So a very faint image of my model. Do you guys see that back there? Okay. Depending on what you want it to look like, you need to manipulate your shutter speed to see how much light you want in. You can manipulate your ISO. Right now my ISO is just very, very low. And then I can also manipulate my umbrella and the angle of my flash. So that's why I'm giving you a little bit of time today, if you're curious, and then a lot of time tomorrow to really play with this idea of using a transceiver and a receiver and doing something kind of different and out of the norm. This is a more advanced idea and it has a lot of science to do with it, but I'm trying to keep it very, very basic for you today. So, let's talk about how to direct your model. So, I'm just going to talk to him as if he was the client. Alright, you ready? Alright, Jeremiah, I'm going to have you kind of scoot a little bit closer to the flash. Go ahead and move. There you go, perfect. I'm going to have you look up into the air as if you were looking towards the heavens. And don't be afraid to get a little bit close to your model. Okay? So that when I have my picture, it will look like this. If you want it super close, get close. You shouldn't really have to use your lens when you're in a situation where you can get close to your model. Okay? Cammie, come up here. I'm going to change my model real quick. Change to a female model.
Not pretty enough.
So we're going to change our model. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of change some things. I'm going to manipulate some things. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have this up a little bit higher. So I'm changing the angle of my umbrella, making it a little bit higher. Okay. I'm also going to change my umbrella as far as how wide it is. Or actually, you know what? I'm just going to leave it like that. And I'm just going to change this slightly. Okay? I'm going to see how it looks different. Alright, I'm just going to take a quick test shot of Cammie, just straight on. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. So if you see the picture, Alexis, what do you notice about the picture?
It's brighter.
Okay. Is her whole face illuminated?
No.
No. What's illuminated?
The side that the light's on.
Just the side of her face. You don't have to just do side. You can think about doing on top and having like an upper lighting. You can choose to do a back lighting. I don't want to go over everything with you because I want you to explore and kind of figure out on your own what happens when you change little things like your shutter speed, your ISO, the way the light hits the umbrella, the way that it opens and closes. Okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Could I use like my cell phone flash if I point it into an umbrella? Would that work?
That's something that you can
Okay.
experiment with, yeah. And today we're mainly going to work with just the flash and the umbrella, but tomorrow if you want to start working with the octalights too, you can do that as well. Isaac.
Does it have to be a flashlight or can we use does it have to be like a flash or can we use like a steady light?
Now if you use a steady light, typically you won't get the same exact effect that you saw on the camera. You can get a similar effect. So for example, if I just turned on, we'll talk about octalights while we're here. I'm going to turn on this octalight. And you turn it all on. Octalights, they give you a nice soft lighting. Think about Victoria's Secret models, how wonderful they look and how soft they look. This is the typical lighting that they would use. So I'm going to turn off my receiver here because I don't want it to flash. And keep in mind, I'm going to leave the same exact settings for that last picture that you saw where her face was just half lit. I'm going to take the same exact picture with the same settings, just different lighting. Okay? What do you notice?
It's a little bit
Darker.
it's on the right side.
So it's a lot darker.
It's on the
lot
other side.
darker. Now, I can start to change settings on my camera. So, because it's so dark and I want it lighter, I want my model to be illuminated, I'm going to turn my shutter speed down from 250 to about 100. I'm going to take a test shot here. Make it low. And what do you notice if I change my shutter speed?
No lighting.
Brighter.
It's a lot brighter. It's a lot brighter. I can change and manipulate the way that the octalight's going to hit. So how I do that, there's a little handle right here. I can loosen this and it can go low. Be careful, because these are very flimsy. So let's just say I turn this low. And Isaac, you're my next model. Thank you. So Isaac, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you just kind of sit on the ground. And this is also something important that I haven't talked about, is when you're taking portrait pictures, you want to either do like a bird's eye view or an ant's eye view, or you need to get down with them. So I'm going to take an ant eye view here. Okay. It's a really dark photo, so I'm going to change my setting here. I'm going to make my ISO about from 100 to 400. Isaac, look up at me. Get down. And this isn't a shot that I would necessarily turn in. It is kind of harsh in a lot of ways. It's yellow.
The lighting.
The lighting's a little harsh. So if that happens to you, something easy that you can do is simply turn off a couple of those lights to make them not as harsh. So I have a very soft lighting now. Okay? So I'm going to take the same shot. He's looking off in the distance. He's a fabulous model. And my image is a little bit better. It's not exactly where I personally want it yet. So I'm going to continue to shoot and manipulate things that I want on my camera settings. Okay. We have, let's see, 5, 10, 15 minutes. In those 15 minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys do a couple different things. You get to choose. You can either choose, I prefer that some of you do the flash photography and kind of experiment with that today. You can turn in late missing assignments. You can ask me questions about unconventional photography, things like that. So things that are photography related that will help you along your way for next week. Okay? All right, anybody want to play around with this? Anybody?
I'll do it.
Okay, so Alexis, I'm going to put these on the original settings I had for the original demo. I'm going to turn on the receivers and transmitters so that's ready to go. And is there anybody who wants to model for Alexis?
Tita.
Okay, so you guys get started. If you simply want to watch and observe, that's okay too. Yep, this is all set, ready to go for you. For everybody else that's not participating in the demo, you guys know what you need to get done. For the next 15 minutes, the cameras will still be rolling, so be aware of that as well. Okay? All right, go ahead and get started. It is a studio time, so make sure you guys get that done real quick. Yeah?
How much was the thing?
For the flashes, or?
Yeah.
Well, I use a website called AliExpress, and you can get a really expensive flash for, I think I paid $38 for that. And the transmitters and the receivers, I think were 10 or 15 each. I can give you the link if you want it. But yeah, they're really nice things to have. I can like email me and I'll email you the link. But come on, this website, I don't think it's long, but you can hold this down. Yeah.
I think I already asked you this. But how would I crop the edges of this image? Because if I made it my background,
Crop the edges of the image, or?
Of the slide because it's stretched.
Oh, yeah, you'd have to just change your background image to be blank.
Okay.
And then,
I think just turn it down because it's completely
just
black.
insert your image and then size it the way you
Throw
want.
one of these pieces of chocolate at you.
Anybody need to check out a camera? Anybody? Let me check real quick. Yep. Jeffrey Crocker. Okay, I'll see what I have.
Turn the shutter speed on this.
So the shutter speed on this camera is if you just hit menu, play. Let me turn it off and turn it on.
trying to change the shutter speed.
I put the ISO. Okay. There we go. So if I just manipulate this, see how the shutter speed changes? I want it to be kind of fast. I put it on 50, and then go ahead and take a test shot real quick.
She was trying to hold the button and do it at the same time.
And see how it illuminates. Now she might have to get closer
So
to
a higher one to make it brighter, or a lower one? A higher one, right?
What?
A lower one to make it brighter?
A lower number, correct. So I can change how the umbrella hits this if I want to. So I just tape this. If I
That's just creepy.
do that, and I move this down just a little bit. Is that closer?
Don't use my face.
Are you guys doing this?
Try that now.
Waiting for her.
Alright. And you guys are waiting on camera?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see how the DSLR.
I need to be lower.
I believe I do. Let me make sure there's a battery inside and everything's ready to go. You will have a brand new fresh battery. If I just charge this one. Okay. And then I will hand you the sign out sheet so you know what you need to do.
What thing? This?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah. What is that thing called on the stand?
Okay, don't
The flash or the umbrella? I would just call it a flash. A camera flash. And then talking up to that.
What's the date today?
Today is December 3rd.
Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit more then.
Which I'm going to turn it down. Yep. There you go. Do you also need a camera? Oh, your phone will have a timer. Do you know how to access that? And you just are you talking about remote flash? Let me see if I have that. Austin, did you bring back your remote flash that you brought? Aha, thank you.
I did not
Bluetooth, so you'll see it pop on. All you
Well,
have
I
to
was
do
there.
is,
Oh, it didn't do anything, I just.
Oh, turn it on.
I don't mind.
And then you get really close to your camera and you want to connect that on your settings. And then play around with this
I thought
to
you
make
knew
sure
that
it
because
works.
you saw me,
Make sure
like,
you
just
find
on
that
your
form
picture,
sheet.
like, kind of a big guy, I don't know how you don't see me.
Oh yeah, there's all different kinds of flashes. So this is kind of what you guys do.
What are you doing?
Any of these. So you just kind of have to look. So like this one is.
I didn't know.
It doesn't have it all. But these are usually $200.
Sure.
And then.
If the light's coming from that way,
I'll sign into mine so you can see what I got.
That's what it's.
Someone's feeling herself.
all I got was this.
They call it a hot shoe.
Oh.
A hot shoe refers to the mechanism that charges the camera that attaches at the top.
Anybody else want to do this? Who's doing it?
So insert the SD card, push this down, and then you put it in. Yep.
Here.
I don't like putting it on my neck.
Oh, who are you taking pictures of?
Myself. Like it. It's not gonna be good.
Are you really?
What? No, heck. It'd be a target. I have a lot.
Who?
I don't have one. I'm gonna take a picture.
You want me to do it?
Screen. Unless you wanna do it. Either one.
No, he meant to be his model.
Oh.
Wow. Never mind.
I just got done.
I want to say Lexi, she broke the thing.
man.
What?
Wow.
Just happens to fit. It goes up.
You what? You what? And that's the one that let it show that.
I'm fixing it. Is it straight? No.
You can do it. No, keep going. Keep going. No, keep going. Keep going. Do it.
Straight yet?
Keep going. Keep going.
Now?
One more.
Okay, back.
You're good. Don't make it fall.
That camera was there.
Break the shot.
Forgot it was there.
Jesus, I'm not that tall.
That's why I said let me do it, because I'm tall.
How's it going? Are you getting over work?
I just took
We're
my
just
clothes.
starting because that was
Okay.
down.
So what are you gonna start off with, the flashes? Okay, so are both set on TRX, so that's on, is your computer, camera on? Yeah? Okay, so go ahead and take a test shot. There you go. Alright. Do you need help with anything? Or are you okay? Okay.
Hole in here.
Thank you. Why is there a little target finder on it?
What are you talking about?
Are you gonna try
Or
it?
not target finder, whatever that is.
Let's try.
No, not like that.
You just try. You might have to take a test shot.
It should be gone. Are they gone?
What?
Cause you got lights and stuff.
Look straight at it?
Yeah.
Creepy.
When you
Look older when it's.
So I didn't want
Take a picture of your chin.
I'm gonna.
You need them out, I'll give them
You
out.
can't see if it's your face or not.
You have to put your eye on the thing. And you
Okay.
took him out that I was talking. You have to put your eye up to this so you can see.
Yeah?
I'll be a bummer.
Hey, there you
I'll be
go.
up
Or you
there.
could be like, stop. Direct your model.
Alright, but
Come
it'll
on.
be fun.
Tell her what you want. I want you to look up. I want you to look down. I want you to put your hand up. I want you to put your hand down. Now, that was a little dark, right? So what are you going to have your model do? Or what are you going to manipulate with your camera?
If it was dark, I would.
She's doing it.
Open and shutter speed.
Okay, so try that.
Oh,
How do you
or,
open a shutter speed?
Or you can have her get closer, yeah. So do another test shot.
Why don't it say?
You can just use a piece of tape to tape it where you want.
What happened?
There you go. MacGyver. Alright.
Just, I don't know. Do what you want.
Take a test
No,
shot.
you have to tell me what to do.
Look over there. Or no.
Yeah, yeah.
Look
I
over
would
there.
do
Look
that.
over there.
Think about the pose that you want to demonstrate and the like personality you want to show
Hopefully not
through.
showing my butt. I can't see through the viewfinder.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna.
I looked right into it. They were listening.
They were?
Yeah.
Leave it over there. It took like 4 different pictures, but they're all the
Are you
same.
wearing a girl's belt?
It's actually my grandma's belt. Because all I have is my MK belt at her house, and I don't feel like wearing it 14 days in a row. So I had to change it up.
So you wore hers?
No, I'm not wearing her belt. It's just her belt. I don't know if it's gonna work with the thing, but look forward to it.
Oh my god, you're gonna get that forehead.
I did something with his camera.
Jesus!
I just told
You
you.
take it off.
I'm just letting it do what it does.
You got that big forehead in there?
No.
A lot of it.
You got like half your I think I'm done. You guys want to do it?
Yeah. I just pulled my pants up in front of everybody that's watching. It's hidden that way. Oh, never mind.
Isaac, do you have an idea what you want to do yet? For your unconventional portrait?
Can I use my SD card?
Yes, yes. Now, you can put this on your Flickr as part of your portfolio and to add and build to your portfolio. You just can't turn it in for unconventional portraits. Okay?
Oh my god. Go. Go. You already said you would.
One picture. One picture.
Go.
One picture.
Fine, go. Stop being a baby. The kid is the one
Yeah, my brother's pretty good at
over chair.
Be nice.
I know, you gotta be nice to your model. Now, what does your picture look like? Are you happy with it? Do you think it's too dark, too light? It's a little dark. It's a little dark, so what could I do with my model? How would I get more light on her? Or I can move her closer. There we go. Move her closer.
You know, the girl with the guys was so different. The guys were so taller. And I was jumping over them. And so then when they
Okay, let's look at our picture. Much lighter now, right? So, if I wanted even more light into it, I have it at 1/125, 5.0. What's something else that is light sensitive? We just talked about aperture and shutter speed. What else is there to manipulate? ISO. ISO. So let's change our ISO. We're going to make it 400. Hit set. And then go ahead and shoot her again. Stop. Alright guys, have a wonderful day. I know the bell rang early, but have a good day.